This is the unexpected showdown nobody anticipated, yet it's the one everyone's been talking about for weeks, at least in the boxing world. Just hours after exchanging fiery words in the media, Terence Crawford and Canelo Alvarez took their rivalry to the next level, bringing it all the way to the airport. Let's catch you up. The clash began a few days ago when, fresh off his victory over Madoff, Terence Crawford made it clear that he wanted to fight Canelo Alvarez. During an Instagram live session with Turkey ALO Sheik, Crawford and Sheik openly called out Canelo, making their intentions clear.
Yes! Let's go! Canelo, come on!
You heard it from him?
We are ready!
Yeah, just put me in the game, coach. Just put me in the game. Canelo.
Since then, Crawford hasn't held back, calling Canelo a duck for avoiding serious discussions about the fight. His comments were a direct jab at Canelo's hesitation to step into the ring with him, a fight many consider one of the biggest boxing events in recent history. When Canelo was asked about Crawford's challenge in a post-fight interview after Edgar Berlanga's match, he initially dismissed it with a cold, no comment.
Internet, with Turkey ALO Sheik calling you out. What's your response to Terence Crawford's call out tonight?
No comment.
But when pressed further, Canelo didn't hold back, completely dismissing Crawford's challenge by calling him too small and too easy. Canelo made it clear he didn't consider Crawford a real threat, stating that a fight with him wouldn't be worth his time.
Heard him say, I'm easy work. If I was easy work, well, you know, you would take all that money that he's offering you. But yet and still, he want $200 million for Benavidez, and he want $150 million to fight me. So that just lets me know right there that I'm a threat to him. I'm a threat.
That should have been the end of it, but for Crawford, it was the breaking point. Tensions quickly escalated when the two unexpectedly crossed paths at the airport. Both fighters were with their teams, but neither was willing to back down, especially Crawford, still fired up over Canelo's too easy comment. He allegedly confronted Canelo, and things quickly turned physical.
You know, realistically left your mind once he said he's not interested, or you still pursuing it?
Not at all. You know, I think business.
This turn of events is surprising because, not long ago, Crawford had shown respect for Canelo's performance against Berlanga. In that fight, Canelo proved once again why he's considered one of the best pound-for-pound fighters, knocking Berlanga down early and dominating most of the match. Despite Berlanga's resilience, Canelo's display left no doubt that he still rules the super middleweight division. Even Crawford, watching from the sidelines, couldn't deny the Mexican champion's skill. Crawford shared his thoughts on Canelo's performance. I attended the Canelo-Berlanga fight, then went to the UFC event. Canelo did what he always does, put on an amazing show. Berlanga also showed a lot of heart, making it an exciting fight. Crawford's praise for both fighters revealed his respect for the sport, but it also highlighted his relentless drive to face Canelo. Despite recently moving up to super welterweight, Crawford is eyeing a fight with Canelo and is determined to make it happen. The fight would be 2 divisions above his current weight, but Crawford isn't deterred by the size difference. For him, it's about securing his place in boxing history.
They're 2 great pound-for-pound fighters, and they feel like, you know, it makes sense and they want to fight each other. Stylistically, it's a great fight. But, you know, Canelo, he's a big dude. So I think it'd be hard for anyone to beat him at 168. But, you know, it's definitely a big money fight, and that's why we're all in boxing, you know, to make the big...
Crawford's victory over Israel Madoff marked his first fight to go the distance in 8 years, leading some analysts to wonder if his power is fading as he moves up in weight. Madoff, a tough and durable opponent, pushed Crawford all the way to the final bell, making it a competitive fight. While Crawford's power remains one of his strongest traits, the bigger question now is how it will hold up against someone like Canelo, who has repeatedly shown he can take the hardest punches in the sport.
couldn't phase Canelo Alvarez. The power of Jaime Munguia couldn't phase Canelo Alvarez. The power of Triple G couldn't phase Canelo Alvarez. The power of Kovalev couldn't phase Canelo Alvarez. The power of Berlanga couldn't phase Canelo Alvarez. The power of Daniel Jacobs couldn't phase Canelo Alvarez. The power of Caleb Plant couldn't phase Canelo Alvarez. ¿Qué Buck Crawford le va a hacer a ese tigre? Ustedes no vieron Buck Crawford versus Mastromov. What power did Buck Crawford have? Put me in the game, coach. No, you're the 15th man in the roster. You will sit in the bench.
Despite these concerns, Crawford remains confident. In the same interview, he made it clear that his desire to face Canelo hasn't changed, believing it's the fight everyone wants to see. "I've been wanting this fight. It's a legacy fight, the biggest in boxing today," Crawford said. "I feel like this is the last of the Mohicans. This would be massive. Two top 3 pound, 4 pound guys going head to head."
This fight right here is like the last of the Mohicans. You know, we both coming in an era where Floyd Mayweather was #1 pound for pound, Showtime, and HBO era, that type of era. So I think this fight will be massive.
Crawford's confidence shines through as he talks about the potential matchup. He acknowledges Canelo's size advantage but says it doesn't intimidate him. In fact, it motivates him. For Crawford, facing a challenge like Canelo is what boxing is all about, pushing yourself to the limit and taking on the toughest competition. "I know Canelo is bigger than me, but I'm up for the challenge," he said. "It's all respect, and if he decides to step into the ring with me, it'll be an electrifying fight. Of course, I'll beat him. There's no doubt in my mind I can beat anyone I step in the ring with." Crawford's impressive career record certainly supports his confidence, but a fight with Canelo presents a new level of challenge. Canelo, known for his power, ring IQ, and vast experience, has defeated top fighters across multiple weight classes. Facing Crawford, who has dominated in the lighter divisions, would create a dramatic clash of styles, skills, and physical attributes. For now, Canelo hasn't committed to his next opponent. After the Berlanga fight, he mentioned taking time off with his family before making any decisions, leaving the door open for several possibilities, including a potential showdown with Crawford.
Terrence, any chance his kids become UFC champions?
No,
Why not?
they don't pay you enough.
Things are getting even more interesting. While Berlanga may have earned what some consider a moral victory by going the distance, Canelo Alvarez once again left his mark on his opponent, even without delivering the knockout fans are used to. This marks the 4th consecutive fight in which Canelo floored his opponent but still walked away with a decision victory. For someone with a legacy as impressive as Canelo's, this trend might raise some eyebrows, but he's not bothered. What are they going to say now? Canelo said after the fight, showing the frustration of a champion constantly questioned despite his dominance. "I fight younger fighters, they say I fight older fighters. They always talk about my experience, my talent, my hard work, and my intelligence. Everything together makes me the best." It's almost as if Canelo has reached a point where no victory is ever enough to quiet the doubters, but maybe for him, it's not about what is already accomplished, it's about what lies ahead. What critics have to say is hard to ignore. After his loss to Dmitry Bivol in May 2022, Canelo has faced a series of talented fighters, but none quite on his level. He was a -1,600 favorite against Berlanga, and the conversation is growing that boxing's top star needs a true challenge to reignite that sense of danger and excitement in his career. That's where Terence Crawford sees an opportunity. Known for his precision, speed, and ring IQ, Crawford has compared a potential move up in weight to face Canelo to the iconic 1983 showdown between Marvin Hagler and Roberto Duran, except this time, the smaller guy wins, Crawford said confidently. But before any serious talks between Crawford and Canelo can take place, there's another looming challenge for Canelo, a potential rematch with Dmitry Bivol. This time, the stakes could be even higher. Bivol, who outclassed Canelo in their first meeting despite some suspiciously close scorecards, is set to face Artur Beterbiev for the undisputed light heavyweight championship. If Bivol comes out on top, Canelo is already eyeing the rematch, seeking redemption and the chance to become an undisputed champion in a second weight class. This is where things really heat up. Canelo has never been shy about a challenge, and is motivated by the memory of his loss to Bivol. "Nothing was right in that fight for me," Canelo has said, referring to a left wrist injury that required surgery after his third bout with Gennady Golovkin in September 2022. The idea of Canelo returning at full strength to settle the score with Bivol is intriguing, but it also carries the risk of history repeating itself. After all, Bivol is no slouch, and his dominant performance in their first fight showed just how difficult he can be for Canelo's aggressive style.
Canelo had the options for rematch. He didn't use it. Now he gonna fight again against someone not for me. I don't know if he wants to fight me or not, but I'm not.
Even if Canelo makes it to a rematch, he'd likely find himself in unfamiliar territory as the underdog. Bivol is already a slight favorite against Beterbiev, a fighter with a perfect KO record who strikes fear into his opponents. Bivol has that ability to beat Beterbiev, Canelo said, acknowledging Bivol's skill but making it clear that his focus is solely on a fight with Bivol. No Beterbiev for him. If Bivol falls short in their October showdown, the possibility of a rematch could fade. However, even if Bivol wins, there's still another hurdle: the weight class.
One guy comes to mind. Was there one person who was the ball maybe? Just to get the rematch? The ball maybe?
Bivol is one of the guys have my rematch now to like I say.
Canelo is looking to secure a rematch with Dmitry Bivol at 175 pounds, the same weight class where Bivol previously defeated him. However, Bivol, now confident after proving he can beat Canelo at light heavyweight, has suggested a rematch at 168 pounds, where Canelo holds the undisputed super middleweight title. This debate over weight might seem trivial to casual fans, but for elite fighters, those extra pounds can make a significant difference. Canelo, though, holds the upper hand. He represents the biggest payday Bivol could get, which might convince the Russian champion to accept a rematch on Canelo's terms. Meanwhile, another name keeps coming up: David Benavidez. The young, hungry Mexican-American fighter has been calling out Canelo for some time, hoping to force a bout. Despite Benavidez's strong performance against Alexander Gvozdyk, though marred by a hand injury, Canelo remains indifferent. "I'm fighting in my weight class, 175, and I don't look the same because it's different when you're fighting at your natural weight," Canelo dismissed. It seems a Benavidez-Canelo clash is unlikely, at least for now. However, there's still a wild card: Terence Crawford. The 37-year-old former undisputed welterweight champion recently made his debut at 154 pounds, narrowly defeating Ismail Madov, a tricky but underrated boxer. Though Crawford didn't look dominant in the fight, he remains confident that Canelo is his next big challenge. The weight difference is concerning. Crawford has never fought above 154 pounds, while Canelo has been competing at 168 pounds or higher for years. Still, Crawford isn't shaken by the size difference, believing his skill can overcome Canelo's physical advantages. "Being bigger doesn't win fights," Crawford said, reflecting on his career of defying the odds. A fight between Canelo and Crawford would be huge, possibly the biggest non-heavyweight bout in boxing today. The commercial appeal is undeniable, with fans eagerly anticipating a showdown between two of the sport's finest. Despite the size difference, Crawford sees this as a legacy-defining fight, one he believes he can win. "I feel like it's a legacy fight, and I feel like it's a fight I can actually win," Crawford said. His confidence is backed by his impressive track record. For Canelo, fighting Crawford presents intrigue. He's a proven star, but as Canelo pointed out, "If I beat him, nobody's going to say, 'Oh, he beat Crawford,' because Canelo's a good fighter too, but he's smaller." Canelo's motivation isn't just legacy anymore, it's about the payday, the excitement, and perhaps the final chapter of his storied career. If the money's right, why not? Canelo acknowledged the inevitability of taking fights that make both financial and competitive sense. However, Crawford, ever confident, made it clear that if the fight happens, the only things to worry about are Canelo's power and size. Yet Crawford doesn't seem intimidated, suggesting his superior reach and speed could help him overcome those differences. Despite this, Canelo's visible frustration with the repeated questions about the matchup shows he may be growing tired of Crawford's relentless pursuit. Canelo has set a staggering $150 million price tag for the fight, a clear indication of how highly he values himself in this potential bout. Crawford, however, is unwilling to back down, even though the chances of the fight happening seem slim. Canelo's response to Crawford's pursuit has been straightforward: he won't take the bait unless the terms are just right. At the top of his game, with a resume that speaks for itself, Canelo's dominance across multiple weight classes and his ferocious power make him a feared opponent for anyone, especially someone like Crawford, who is naturally smaller. Crawford's claim that he only needs to worry about Canelo's power and size seems overly simplistic, as it overlooks the complexity of what makes Canelo so dangerous inside the ring. After all, Canelo has been a wrecking ball, bulldozing opponents who entered the ring with similar confidence. Crawford's speed and reach might offer some advantages, but these could be dwarfed by Canelo's tactical brilliance and ability to adjust mid-fight. Crawford's confidence stems from his impeccable record of 41 wins and no losses, including 31 knockouts. His proven time and again that he belongs among the best in boxing. His willingness to face bigger opponents is well documented, and he seems genuinely unafraid to step up to fight Canelo. He argues that his experience against larger fighters equips him to handle whatever Canelo brings to the table, yet there's growing concern among boxing fans and analysts that Crawford might be biting off more than he can chew. While he's fought bigger fighters before, Canelo isn't just a bigger guy, he's a fighter with a unique combination of power, technique, and experience that could present challenges Crawford has never encountered. Some critics believe that Crawford's pursuit of Canelo is more about chasing a massive payday before retirement than about building his legacy. They argue he's looking for a shortcut, opting for a financial windfall instead of fighting the best at 154 and 147 pounds. For a fighter nearing the twilight of his career, this reasoning makes sense, but the optics aren't great, and many fans are beginning to tire of his relentless campaigning for a fight that seems increasingly unlikely to materialize. Despite all the noise, Crawford remains adamant that a showdown with Canelo would be massive, calling it the biggest fight in boxing today. On paper, it's certainly an enticing matchup: Crawford, the smaller, faster fighter, versus Canelo, the bigger, more powerful one. It's a classic David versus Goliath storyline that has always intrigued boxing fans. But the question remains, is this fight about legacy, or is it just about securing one final massive payday for Canelo? The idea of facing Crawford might feel like a step backward for Canelo. He's already conquered multiple divisions, fought the best, and established himself as one of the biggest names in the sport. Facing Crawford, a naturally smaller opponent, could be seen as a mismatch. Even if he wins, Canelo might worry that the victory wouldn't carry the same weight as his other achievements. Canelo has always sought challenges that push him, whether it's moving up in weight or taking on dangerous opponents like Dmitry Bivol or Caleb Plant. So, what do you think about all this? Share your thoughts below, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more updates. See you in the next one.